Nintendo and Illumination just released the first trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, releasing early 2026, and I wanted to take this time to just predict the whole movie's story based off one trailer.
It's trash.
Now, when I say predicting the whole story, I have to clear things up a little bit. There's not really going to be a crazy story in this movie, I don't think really anyone expects that. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is listing off all the cool stuff, premises, situations, locations, and characters that I think Nintendo and Illuminations are going to include in this movie, and then kind of drafting up a story that, takes us through all those points. I think that's pretty fair, because that's pretty much what they did with the first movie. There's never going to be a crazy story here in any of these Mario movies. The story is kind of just a thinly veiled vehicle that will take us as viewers from scene to scene and reference to reference, which personally I'm completely fine with. I don't really care for the story in Mario games. I also don't really care for the story in Mario movies. I just want to see cool stuff and be like, oh, okay, that's neat. That's what they did with the first movie. That's what I think they're gonna do here. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into predicting the entire story and movie based off just one trailer. The trailer starts with this scene that reminds us that Bowser ate a mini mushroom at the end of the last movie and is currently held captive in, albeit a pretty cool looking Bowser's Castle replica. Not really sure why Mario, Luigi, and Peach are giving Bowser such a chill place to stay in prison when he literally locked Luigi up in a cage over lava in the last movie, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Stockholm Syndrome aside, Jack Black's Bowser will definitely be getting another melodramatic musical number. Obviously, Peach's was one of the most successful parts of the last movie in terms of breaking into really mainstream pop culture. And also this piano here, I mean, come on guys, it's asking for it. There will be another Jack Black musical number in this movie, if that's a surprise to anyone. I think this will be pretty much the start of the movie. It might even be the first scene, like a cold open we get, just reminding people what happened in the last movie and setting up the fact that, hey, Bowser ate a mini mushroom, he's small, and Bowser Jr. is gonna try and rescue him. I think after that, we'll return to Brooklyn, New York, and specifically the sewers under the city, where Yoshi was seen in a Yoshi egg in the last movie's post-credits tease. I think Yoshi will hatch and go through the pipe, getting transported to the Mario Mushroom Kingdom universe, but that's all we'll see of Yoshi for now. Next up, I think we'll get an introduction to Rosalina. This will establish that she is living on the Comet Observatory out in space, and we'll likely get that scene in the library of Rosalina reading to all the Lumas. More importantly though, I think Rosalina will give us a bit of exposition here. In fact, I think she is going to be setting up the Star Festival. I said earlier that Mario games don't really have a story, and that is true, but Galaxy at least somewhat tried, and they did that through the Star Festival, which occurs on the first level right when you open up the game. It's pretty clear that these shots with all the star fragments coming down are part of the Star Festival, and even in this thumbnail we see the gang out on the water in star-shaped boats. I think this is also taking place during the Star Festival. However, unlike Mario Galaxy, I don't necessarily think that Bowser Jr. or Bowser are going to attack during the Star Festival. In fact, I think the Star Festival kind of goes off without a hitch. But the next day, Peach, as the ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom, gets some intel that there's weird regional phenomena going on around the world. I think Peach and Toad will set out to explore something, maybe in that Yoshi's forest we briefly saw in the first movie, while Mario and Luigi go out to explore Toast Arena. We see Mario and Luigi motorbiking around the desert, and I think the specific weird occurrence they're going to investigate here is the fact that this pyramid no longer seems to be floating. It used to be floating, it was floating in the first movie, and the other ones in the distance are floating, but this one kind of seems tilted over like it fell down to the ground. I think Mario and Luigi are going to investigate that, and they'll probably end up going inside the pyramid where hijinks ensue. Whether the pyramid is just booby-trapped or Mario and Luigi have to fight a boss like iRock, I'm not entirely sure. But something goes wrong while they're investigating the pyramid and they don't make it back to the castle before nightfall. Because of that, Peach and Toad find themselves alone up at the top of the castle, and suddenly a launch star appears. Peach and Toad jump into it to investigate, but Mario and Luigi come back the next morning to find Peach missing. Later that night, Bowser Jr. kidnaps the entire castle, not just Peach. However, unfortunately, Peach isn't even in the castle at this point. She's already out into the galaxy. I believe this shot here where Bowser Jr. is trying to rescue Bowser isn't actually during the Star Festival, and you can kind of see in the background, it looks like the entire castle is rising up with these weird blue glowing shields around it. So Bowser Jr. comes, lifts the castle up and sends it into space, kind of like how Bowser did in the first Galaxy, rescues Bowser from being kidnapped, and leaves Mario and Luigi stranded on the castle in space. By this point, I think we're gonna get some jokes about about how like Mario thinks Peach is captured and he's got to go rescue her. But she's just off on her own adventure fighting bad guys and doing perfectly fine. That seems like a joke they'll make a couple of times throughout the movie. Like Mario's all like, oh, I gotta rescue Peach, and Peach is just chilling. She's like fighting off ninjas and doing whatever she does. Anyway, everything I just said happens within the first like 20 minutes of the movie. This is basically setting up the rest of the plot, which is just the fact that Mario and Luigi are together, Peach and Toad are also together, and Bowser Jr. are reunited and once again together. All of these different groups of people are going to be racing towards the center of the universe for some sort of MacGuffin or ultimate star power. I think this general plot structure works really well for a couple of reasons. One, Mario and Luigi didn't actually spend that much time together in the last movie, so it would make sense to pair them up together for most of this movie because it's Mario and Luigi. People want to see them interact. On top of that, giving us these interweaving different storylines of Mario and Luigi together, Peach and Toad together, and Bowser Jr. together, all racing towards one greater power. Mario wants it to save Peach. Peach is just out exploring, maybe wants to see what's in the center of the universe herself, and Bowser Jr. probably wanted to remake the universe in their image. This general storyline really reminds me a lot of another animated movie, that being Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I saw this movie in theaters with my younger cousins, and I really haven't seen it since, but from what I remember, it's kind of the same thing. There's a bunch of different groups of characters, all fighting to try and get to the last wish. They encounter each other a couple of times on the way there, but nothing super crazy happens until that final big showdown where they're all running to try and capture, maybe it's a grand star, maybe it's just the power of the universe, but they're all racing for one big like powerful item. Again, it's probably going to be a superstar. These groups spend most of the movie apart from each other and then all link back up at the end for one climactic battle. Now that we've established the different players in this story, let's go through the different levels or locations and scenes that we could see. First of all, Mario and Luigi I think will definitely meet Rosalina relatively early in this movie, but even if they don't, Rosalina and more so the Lumas are going to play a very important role in Mario and Luigi's section of the adventure. Mainly, we know all the Lumas are already big fans of Mario and Luigi as they ask Rosalina to tell them a story about the plumbers. In the Mario Galaxy games, Lumas can transform into launch stars, which is how Mario flies around space. Considering the Lumas all already know Mario and Luigi and are clearly big fans of them, this is going to be their main method of transportation across the galaxy. Random Lumas that Mario and Luigi bump into will help them traverse different planets, and one of the first planets I think they're going to get to is the Yoshi Star Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy 2. This works for a multitude of reasons. One, they're going to have to find Yoshi at some point. Why not find him at the place we, the players, found him in that game? On top of that, to free Yoshi in that level, you actually have to defeat Kamek. Kamek was a pretty big player in the first Mario movie, but hasn't really shown up here. It also seems that Kamek's role as like Bowser's right-hand man will likely be replaced by Bowser Jr., so I wouldn't be surprised if Kamek maybe saw Yoshi land on this island and wanted to go, investigate. After defeating Kamek, Mario and Luigi get Yoshi, who will probably stay with them for the rest of the movie. Another reason I like Yoshi Star Galaxy is because there's this big giant volcano here. The inside of this volcano could make for a pretty dang cool boss arena. In fact, I wouldn't be super surprised if King Caliente, the boss from Mario Galaxy, made an appearance in this movie. Mario Galaxy is full of more cinematic style bosses, but I don't know if many of them could be translated to the big screen better than King Caliente. Whether he's on his own planet or in this volcano right here, I do think King Caliente will be in this movie. He just seems like it would fit well. It kind of fits Illumination's animation style. He's a big imposing boss, but not super hard to take down. You just gotta reflect his projectiles right back at him if they're going the exact game route. Jumping over to Peach and Toad, I think they're gonna go through a lot of iconic Galaxy levels. In fact, we already kind of see this as this flying shot actually shows part of Gusty Garden Galaxy over here. One thing I would like to point out for Peach and Toad is I do think they'll get split up at some point. While separated, I do truly believe that Captain Toad will meet up with the Toad Brigade. Captain Toad was originally introduced in Mario Galaxy, and he was always seen with the trusty Toad Brigade on this little mushroom spaceship. I think it would be absolutely ludicrous to have a Mario Galaxy movie where the Toad Brigade didn't make an appearance, so I would count on Toad being separated from Peach and then eventually meeting up with another Toad Brigade to try and go rescue Peach and Mario and all that. As for Peach herself though, I said this before, but I think a main theme of this movie is gonna be the fact that Mario's like, oh, I gotta go rescue Peach, and then we'll just get a hard cut to Peach fighting a bunch of bad guys. I firmly believe they'll play that joke a handful of times. They kind of did a similar thing in the first movie where Peach was just like way more powerful than Mario for pretty much the entirety of that film, and I don't really see them doubling back on that here, especially since one of the only shots we get of Peach is her absolutely destroying some ninjas in this casino. However, let's talk about this casino. The giant roulette wheel in the middle is reminiscent of the casino from Mario Sunshine, which was actually a boss arena, but you fought like King Boo, you didn't fight a bunch of ninjas. And all the ninjas are falling from the sky here, so I more so believe this is almost a reference to the Ninja Jump Party level from Super Mario Bros. Wonder. In fact, this kind of speaks to a larger point I'd like to make here. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Wonder stuff in this at all. I mean, clearly they're pulling a lot from it, as Bowser Jr.'s entire design is actually pulled from Mario Bros. Wonder, which is like kind of an obscure thing to reference. It's not obscure in the sense that that's the most recent like mainline Mario game, but the boss fights were kind of the worst part of Wonder, so if they're referencing Bowser Jr.'s design from that, I think they'll probably go a bit further. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Flower Kingdom with Prince Florian, or some other Wonder-based enemies scattered throughout the galaxy. What I don't think we'll see throughout the galaxy though are pretty much any references to Super Mario Odyssey or even Super Mario Sunshine. It seems like Odyssey is built into the main world of the Mario movie. In Odyssey, Pauline is obviously the mayor of New Donk City, but in the Mario Bros. Movie, she's just the mayor of New York City. We also see Toast Arena complete with its upside down floating pyramids, but once again, we saw that in the main movie and it wasn't part of the galaxy. It was on the same planet as the Mushroom Kingdom. So I don't think we'll be seeing that many, or really any at all, Odyssey references out in the galaxy once the movie takes to space. Additionally, I just don't really see Sunshine references happening in the Mario Galaxy movie. Not that they couldn't do it, I'm not saying they're only gonna stick to Galaxy, but what makes Mario Sunshine so unique as a 3D Mario game is its location, that being Isle Delfino. No other 3D Mario game, or really Mario game at all, has committed to such a realistic location. Not just in the sense that like there's hotels and whatnot here, but that all the levels in that game take place on Delfino Island. Because of that, I don't think they'll randomly be spreading out Sunshine references throughout the universe. Rather, I think if we do get a Sunshine reference, it'll just be because Mario and Luigi, or maybe Peach and Toad, end up on a planet that has all of Isle Delfino on it. This is definitely possible, but I don't necessarily see it happening. It would have to happen in like the middle of the movie, and I'm struggling to come up with even a small plot reason as to why they would want to go there. It would also be weird from like a tone perspective, because Isle Delfino is a very relaxing and enjoyable place. The only reason it even worked as a setting in Mario Sunshine was because Bowser Jr. already framed Mario and all the Isle Delfino residents threw him in jail. I don't think that'll happen here, although Bowser Jr. is obviously in this movie. I just don't really see him going from like his grand galactic adventure to a random beachside island just to then frame Mario, and then somehow Mario also then ends up at that island. I don't know, that would be stretching it even for like this movie's story. All that to say, I don't think this casino level is really a reference to Sunshine at all. In fact, I don't really think it's one direct reference to anything. I just think it pulls in a lot of different aspects from Mario. I wouldn't even be surprised if it had the slot machine like dice blocks that appeared in the slot machines in Super Mario 3D World. In fact, those kind of look like them right there, but it's too blurry to tell. Jumping back to Peach and Toad, or well, just Peach at this point, because I think Toad has already been separated from Peach by the time we get to this casino level, my bet is that Peach's main motivation for this story is gonna be trying to figure out who she really is and where she comes from. This was a question briefly touched on in the last Mario movie, but Peach really didn't have many answers. In fact, she kind of just looked up and said, oh, there's a big galaxy out there, which, well, you know, now we're exploring it, so it kind of just makes sense for her to try and go and figure out who she really is and where she comes from. Lastly, let's talk about the third like main group I see in this movie, that being Bowser and Bowser Jr. I do believe Bowser Jr. will rescue Bowser when he attacks Peach's castle. If Bowser Jr. wasn't able to rescue Bowser here, then Jack Black as Bowser would kind of just be sidelined for most of this movie, and I feel like he was kind of one of the main draws for the first one. That like Peach's song that he sang blew up, and I feel like all the kids who watch this movie like Jack Black as Bowser, so I don't think they're gonna sideline him. I think he gets rescued, and then it's him and Bowser Jr. concocting a plan to go to the center of the universe. I think Bowser and Bowser Jr. will kind of spend this movie going throughout space and amassing a crew of different bosses and whatnot, essentially a battalion for that end of the universe, you know, center of the universe final epic showdown of the third act of the movie. So that's the main plot of the movie, but now I want to go through some of the galaxies from Mario Galaxy that I think would work really well in this movie. First things first, a couple ones that I want to see. I want to see either Loop-de-Loop Galaxy or Rolling Green Galaxy. These are the two like kind of smaller motion controlled galaxies, the Stingray race and the on top of the like ball where you have to tilt and kind of avoid the holes and whatnot. These are both iconic galaxies from Mario Galaxy, and I don't think we need both of them in this movie, but I definitely think we'll get at least one of them. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I I don't think we'll actually see the Honey Hive Galaxy. The only reason I think we would get Honey Hive Galaxy is if B Mario were to somehow be in this movie. Be in this movie? Okay. And I don't know, man. Like, Cat Mario was in the first movie, but everyone kind of likes Cat Mario, and it's like, it's cats. I mean, everyone kind of likes cats. No one really likes bees. I mean, sure, save the bees, whatever, but I don't think B Mario has really ever had the appeal that even Cat Mario had. Despite B Mario being from a game, I did it again, that sold a lot more than 3D World, which is obviously where Cat Mario initially was. I think we'll definitely see Gusty Garden Galaxy, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Nintendo added in the Cloud Flower from Galaxy 2 into Gusty Garden Galaxy. Obviously, it wasn't in there in the original game because the Cloud Flower didn't exist in Mario Galaxy 1, but it makes sense thematically, and I feel like that power-up would lead to more interesting scenes for the movie than like B Mario. I think Battle Rock Galaxy will definitely be in this movie. In fact, I think that could probably be Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s like little home base area out in space. And if at any point Mario and Luigi do get split up on this adventure, which is probably more than likely considering this movie is gonna, have to fill at least like an hour and 20 minutes worth of screen time, I would not be shocked at all if they just retread the same joke that they did before of, oh, Luigi gets scared and he goes to Ghostly Galaxy and gets freaked out by some King Boos. Maybe even they tease a Luigi's Mansion movie or something. A couple more galaxies I think we could see, this time from Mario Galaxy 2, Shiverburn Galaxy seems like an almost must-have. This is the galaxy where it's both lava and ice, and once again, it just seems like a good setting for a couple scenes of this film. One really interesting galaxy we could see is the Throwback Galaxy. This entire level from Mario Galaxy 2 is obviously a reference to Super Mario 64. We can even get a boss fight with the Womp King, which again would be a reference to 64, but also the fact that he was in this galaxy in Mario Galaxy. Lastly, I want to predict the post-credits tease. The first one teased Yoshi. I think Yoshi will be in this movie. If I had to guess a post-credits tease for this film though, it would be Wario and Waluigi. It would be a bit more of an involved tease, considering that they could easily do Yoshi because it was just the Yoshi egg and they wouldn't really, they didn't need to cast a voice actor or anything. If they show Wario and Waluigi and don't have them speak at all, I feel like that would be a little weird, so they might have to cast voice actors for Wario and Waluigi just for this post-credit scene and then obviously, re-sign them for the next movie. But it does seem like those characters would be the main ones to kind of appear and add a new wrinkle to the next film. I don't think they're going to be in this one. There's already a lot going on with the whole galaxy setting, but maybe even Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s like big wish or use with the superstar at the center of the universe is to create like evil clones of Mario and Luigi just so they don't have to worry about Mario and Luigi anymore, and that could be Wario and Waluigi. It would kind of make sense. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about the Mario Galaxy movie, but I do have one quick announcement for any fans of the channel or people who are just curious what I've been up to. It's related because it's also a movie. I helped one of my good friends make a film called Kung Fu Conundrum. If you enjoy like super crazy, corny, satirical, just funny action movies that do not take themselves seriously at all, then I would recommend you giving this one a watch. I'm biased because my friend made it, but I love it. I think it's hilarious. It's a short film. It's like 16 minutes and it's free on YouTube right now. I'll link it on screen now, and also I made a behind the scenes like documentary about how they made that movie, which was absolutely crazy. They like shot it right after a hurricane. There were like run-ins with the cops. It was a wild story and it was super fun to tell it. So that video is also on the screen right now if you're interested in that one. Thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoy Kung Fu Conundrum. If you check it out, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one.